right, it is another day. I've got wall number 1 here in the background, just in case you want to enjoy it, admire it, look at it. I know I do. But no, all jokes aside, we've got more work to do today. I don't know how far I'm going to get on it, but I do want to start working on the 7 posts. It's going to be more than that for this side. But we got a winter weather advisory with some snow coming in about 4 hours. We are expected to get, I think, 1 to 3 inches today, and then another inch tomorrow, and then another one the following day. So maybe in the next 48 hours, up to 5 inches potentially, which is more than we've seen so far. But I gotta try and get as much of this done as I can. I don't think the snow is gonna stop me from working, I hope. But it's warmer. I mean, even with it snowing, it's 10 degrees warmer today than it was yesterday with all the frost on everything, including the lumber. So says you can't work in the snow a little bit, especially with what we're doing on the ground. So we're gonna be laying out just like we did with on the process for this wall, preparing all of the posts, cutting them to the exact adjusted lengths, laying them out on the ground, putting the wall girts perpendicularly across them, fastening them down. We're gonna do the same thing, 3 sections. And then when we're ready to go with that, probably in a few days from now, I think after probably the snow, we'll stand them up. And then we'll have that wall set. And we'll just keep going through this process, and we'll do the back wall the same way, and we'll do the front wall. Maybe not all of it because we still got to get the crane in to raise the trusses. But I just kind of keep repeating this process over and over again until all the walls are up. So I'm gonna get to it. I want to try and get as much of this done before the snow comes in. And I think we're ready for it. We'll see. If it's coming in at that pace, right, 5 inches over 48 hours, I don't think it's gonna accumulate too much. And all the temps are over freezing. It looks like all the way through the next few days. So it's probably gonna melt, I think, pretty close to as fast as it's coming in, and some rain too. So, all right, let's just get some work done. Let's stop worrying about the weather. All right, as I was planning to start pulling these posts over, I even got the sawhorses set up. I was looking over here at the brackets because I wanted to make sure I was counting how many I need. And as I was looking at compared to these brackets, I noticed that some of the full ones, like for example, this one right here, this is supposed to have a full post on it. It's supposed to be lined up 8 foot on center, which is supposed to be directly across from that one. And it wasn't. I was just noticing it. So I went and I pulled my measurements again, and sure enough, I was off on this one by, I don't know, almost a foot, 10 or 11 inches. This one as well. So then I basically slid, here you go. So I moved, this is gonna be the full post. That's gonna be the left rough opening of the man door there. So I slid that one over, and then consequently this one right here had to move over the same amount, so that we've got with a 3-ply post and then a 2-ply, kind of a jack header set up there. Jack stud, king stud, so 2-ply. On that one, we want to have a 38.5 inch rough opening for the door. So that one moved over so that we've got our full post there lined up. And the reason why, it wouldn't have been the end of the world if I left it, but when we're hanging the trusses, we want to set the trusses on top of the truss hangers, and we're going to have, there's going to be 1 truss attached to each post. So if we got up on that side, we would have been attached fine to that post, but by the time we get up to this side, we would be sitting out kind of in the middle of nowhere, which I don't think it'd be the end of the world, but we want to take advantage of being able to fasten at least every other truss to the post where we can. It's part of this design and the way those posts stick up above the truss carriers. But then when I got down here to these, I also noticed I had the same thing on this garage door opening. So I pulled 8 feet from center from this one over to here, and then I popped these 2 out and just slid them back down. So I must have made a mistake there somewhere. But the nice part is we've got now, we'll do 6 posts on this wall for now to start. 6 full posts that will go from the ground all the way up. And post number 7 is actually going to be sitting kind of on a header. Imagine the garage door right here. It goes, up over it like that. Post number 7 is kind of going to be like maybe a third of the way. It's supposed to go a third of the way into this garage door if we were doing 8 feet on center. But what we'll do is we'll trim that up. It'll be sitting up there you know, basically 8 feet high or 8 feet 1.5 inches high, going all the way up to the top. From that point, it'll sit on the header above the garage door. It'll be fastened there. So I'm not gonna prep that one right now. So we're gonna do 6 full posts. I've got all the marks. Everything else, it's only gonna get the 2-ply 2x6s for the rough openings. I'll do those all later. We'll frame that up later. We just wanna do the full post for right now. But now we are finally working on the posts. Let me just show you something really quickly. So I laid all these posts. I ended up getting 7 of them just because I'm gonna do that one that sits over the garage at the same time. But they all had slightly uneven bottoms. So I got the chainsaw out and we just put a smooth finish right across all of them. Some of the plies were uneven, not necessarily each of the boards themselves, but you had like maybe this one right here was maybe sticking out a little bit from the other two. So it wasn't gonna sit flush into the bracket. So just now that we got a good bottom, we're gonna pull measurements. We're gonna set up the story pole and mark up all of our posts before we lay them out on the floor. All right, you can see behind me here, we've got all the posts laid out on the ground right in front of their brackets for the whole west wall here. And definitely some snow clouds, but the weather's for the most part cooperating here still. If it's just gonna kind of lightly flurry like this, I got a lot of time left that I can get some work done here today. But I'm gonna start bringing over this big pile of wall girts, the 2x6s that we're gonna use, and laying them out in a grid fashion across all the posts. And I'll see how much of that I can get done. And if the weather just keeps staying like this, I'm gonna be okay to keep working through and getting them all nailed together. And remember, I have to do some cuts on the butt joints as well. I'm just gonna keep plugging away, and if the weather's gonna keep cooperating, we're just gonna build as much as we can. I am so tempted to call it a day, but the progress it's addicting. And it's snowing pretty good now. So finally the snow's come in. I can't even see across the lake. It's starting to it's sticking to the ground. And so I didn't get them all cut, I didn't get them fastened together. And then I've got to do some work here around the doors. So I got the garage door that's gonna go right here, and then the man door I'll do after the fact, because that's not gonna be too difficult to frame that up from the ground. But because this one right here is relying upon this final inside post kind of sitting inside that header, I'm gonna have to do this work on the ground before we tilt it up. But no, this is good. I think I'm just gonna go warm up for a little bit and see if I can come back out and get another hour or so in before it gets dark. But it's coming along. It's coming along. And so I probably don't have some help coming to tilt these up until for a few days from now from a friend. So I was kind of eyeballing that section of the back wall way over here. and at least the area where I could drive the tractor in. So I was kind of looking at this spot right here where I'm standing. If I can get the tractor in through here and down there, I could build that, at least some of that back wall, and tilt it up and maybe get that corner braced a little bit better. Corners, I mean, the corners are going to really start to bring rigidity to the structure. There is some bracing right now, but getting the corners in place and certainly getting the trusses and the steel on is really going to strengthen it up. But no, we're getting there. We're getting there. I just gotta fight the cold here a little bit, I think.